Welcome back to the Thom Hartmann Program. I'm Danielle, here with Shano, sitting in for Tom today, and joined by none other than John Nichols, the national affairs correspondent of The Nation magazine, which you can check out at thenation.com and at Nichols Uprising and at The Nation on Twitter. We just covered Ted Cruz, the likely, front runner in tonight's debate, considering Trump has taken his ball and gone home. And the other front runner, Donald Trump, is also, as you put it, ridiculously wrong. I would like to say about everything, but you, in the interest of journalist integrity, say only about William F. Buckley, at least for the sake of this article. How is he wrong about William F. Buckley?
Well, stunningly wrong. In fact, wrong in every way. This goes to the same subject. It's interesting that you've chosen these two articles, because I think it's a nice pairing.
It is my favorite game. Conservatives are wrong about everything, especially the things that they say are their deepest held beliefs. But anyway, go ahead.
I think they're wrong about conservatism, which
right.
is really interesting. And so here's the thing. This week, we had a very fascinating and I think really significant initiative by National Review, the longtime conservative news magazine. It's about 60 years old. And National Review was founded by William F. Buckley to really put forward a kind of a core modern conservative concept. And I think it's fair to say the magazine has defined conservatism in many ways in our times. Now the magazine is freaked out about Trump. I mean, they're totally freaked out about Trump. So much so that they devoted an entire issue to saying, basically anybody but Trump. The headline is Against Trump. They have all sorts of writers who contributed to it. They have a very, very thoughtful, I think, smart editorial arguing that Trump isn't a conservative in any sense of our time, historical pattern or even our times. And also that Trump is very, very dangerous because he's sort of defining things really as an extension of himself rather than, as part of a long-term movement that may have some principles and values. So very smart piece. Trump hated it. He hated the editorial. He hated the issue of the magazine. He took it seriously enough to tweet about it. And one of the things that he said was William F. Buckley would be, ashamed, or I read the exact word, of his magazine for having done this. Well, I knew Buckley. I don't claim to have been best buddies with him or anything like that. We had differences, but I had the opportunity to spend a decent amount of time with him. I had some great conversations with him about politics and about the role of a magazine and the link of an ideology to, an editorial stance. I can promise you that William F. Buckley would be incredibly proud of what his magazine is doing at this point. Not that it's for Trump or against Trump or something like that, but he would have loved the boldness of it, the magazine coming out and trying to shape a discussion about what conservatism is, what conservative values are. And there's a lot of history of it. Buckley himself, in the early 1960s, took on the John Birch Society and the far right, which was coming into the Republican Party at that time. And he said, we just can't have this. The Republican Party cannot be, the John Birch Society, and conservatism can't be about this extremism. He did it again in the early 1990s when he took on anti-Semitism and argued that there was a sort of a new nationalism coming that had some anti-Semitic and nationalist sentiments that were particularly unsettling. And he said, this can't be a part of conservatism. This can't be what conservatism is. These were incredibly bold, courageous, and strong statements that helped to define conservatism, not as something that you or I might agree with, but as something that did have standards and had sort of a mainstream to it. Not the mainstream, but a conservative mainstream. I think that's exactly what the magazine's trying to do with Trump at this point. And for Trump to invoke Buckley's name in his defense is simply absurd.
Yes. As everybody should go and check out John Nichols' article, Donald Trump is ridiculously wrong about William F. Buckley, where you directly quote Buckley from 2008, speaking about whether Trump would get in the race at that time and become a presidential candidate. And I mean, I think the first line, all of 4 words, sums it up. Look for the narcissist.
Yes, and it actually was 2000, and Buckley happened to have gone on record quite clearly as regards Donald Trump, and so the thing that is unsettling about this is that, just as you say, in our previous conversation, Ted Cruz is a smart guy. He ought to know. He has a pretty good sense of this. Donald Trump is a man of New York City. So was William F. Buckley. Buckley ran for mayor of New York as a conservative candidate back in 1965. They were aware of one another. And, really, by any measure, for Trump to say that, to try and attack the magazine as having lost its connection to its founder, is one of two things. Either an expression of extreme ignorance that I find hard to imagine, or again, this attempt to deceive, and this attempt to essentially lie to your supporters.
Right.
When you're in a tough position.
And I think that that's the most important theme of this whole half hour. We're about to watch a Republican debate tonight in which they will put forward proposals, ideas, policy suggestions, etc. And I think we need to take all of them. Even our conservative friends, our conservative followers and listeners need to realize that these men who propose to represent them and who want to stand and lead the greatest country in the world are lying to them on a regular basis, and there is plenty of proof, as you have so brilliantly pointed out, that shows they know that they're doing this.
Well, and in fact, I would suggest that what you'll hear tonight is the candidates lying about each other.
Yeah,
They won't even be, simply kind of deceptive or off balance as regards conservatism or Republican traditions or Republican icons. They'll go at each other in a very vicious, very aggressive way. And what I would suggest, I would think, and we'll see how it turns out, but I would suggest to you that's one of the reasons why Trump has felt so comfortable skipping this debate.
John, I'm sorry. We just totally hit the brake.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 202-536-2370.
John Nichols, National Affairs Correspondent of The Nation, thenation.com. Thank you, John.
Total pleasure to be with you.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.